Welcome back to the channel. Today's 5-minute no spoiler review will be Undaunted Courage by Stephen Ambrose. The book was published in 1996 and comes in at an average 592 pages. So not too long of a read, but also not a short book by any means. This is a wonderful adventure narrative, at least in my opinion. I had great visualization of everything that was going on. It follows Lewis and Clark's adventure to the Northwest coast. Ambrose utilized their journals to put together this story. Character development in this book is really good, in my opinion, especially for Meriwether Lewis. It seems to focus on him. There were so many challenges for this trip, just descriptions of how they crossed rivers and carried boats along the entire trip with them overland. Was I just can't imagine how they did this in the undeveloped West. One of the things I love about this book is its history with storytelling, not your old boring textbook. And Ambrose is a master at this. I've read a lot of his books, both military history and a few other non-military books, and I find this always to be the case. There's also insight into Thomas Jefferson's relationship with this expedition. So those are the things I like about the book. I like that it's truly visual as you're reading it. I really feel like I'm on the ground with the characters as they're going across the country, and this being, say a true story from all the expedition and Lewis and Clark in more detail than I'd ever known. So on to the negative. I don't feel like Ambrose really explored, and maybe he stuck to their journals and didn't embellish any, but he didn't really explore the Native Americans much. They're not really described in much detail throughout the journey, and I think that's a shortcoming. Even if it was not in the journals, I think there should have been some additional commentary on that. Another negative aspect of the book is that it doesn't really, to the extent it talks about the Native Americans, it doesn't really paint a very good light on them. It's just like they're an afterthought. So I don't like that. I just think there should have been a lot more credit given to what Native Americans were doing across the country as they were exploring that. And maybe there's some limitations in the journals. I haven't looked at the journals, and I haven't researched this out beyond just reading this book. The book is a little slow starting before you kind of get hooked into it, which is another thing you have to kind of get over. Stick with it if you read the book, because it does get much better, and then I couldn't put it down after I got fairly deep into it. And the slowness kind of is around the political talk of the expedition and preparing for the expedition and all that. So that's drawn out a little bit in the beginning, but then once it's underway, it gets a lot better. One final poke I'll put at this book is that it's almost like Ambrose was in a hero worship mode with Lewis and Clark, because there were no criticisms laid out at all. He just glosses over any flaws that they have, and doesn't really provide critical analysis of any of their decisions or their leadership. It doesn't mean that they didn't have great decisions and exude great leadership throughout the trip, but it's like there were no wrongs that these two could do. And for a trip of this magnitude, I would find that just a little too hard to believe. So if you're looking for an adventure based on a true story and history and a journey that you can visualize very easily, I would highly recommend this book. It was a joy to read. So until next time, that's it for this episode. I hope these reviews are helping to inspire you to read more, including Undaunted Courage, which I highly recommend. Till next time, take care.